Make sure we got signal, so we got some audio. All right, yeah. What's good, y'all? Sean P, the Blunt God. Ay! Yeah, I'm excited, man. I ain't gonna lie, I'm excited, man. We got another chapter, y'all. We got another chapter this week after last week's break, which was tough, man. Sometimes breaks be rough. But it's always a good week when we got a One Piece chapter. So let's get into it. But before we get into it, before we do all that now, all right, make sure y'all hit that like button. You know what I mean? Show your boys some love and hit that like button. I kind of had to do that myself just now. But yeah, hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed already, subscribe. Once I hit 50 subscribers, I will be doing a giveaway. I'll be giving away a One Piece pirate flag, pretty much. I got 2 left. I still have them. I'm just waiting to find somebody to give them away to. I'm just waiting to find somebody to give them away to. But first, we gotta hit that 50 subscriber milestone. So help me with that. But anyway, enough of the begging. You know what I'm saying? Enough of all of that. We got a chapter this week. So let's get into the chapter. One Piece, chapter 1029. The Tower. And, the cover page, we got Jory Bonnie. She's basically having like a soba eating contest, or ramen or soba. I don't really know the difference between ramen and soba, but pretty much noodles, a noodle eating contest. I don't know. I think Jory Bonnie might win that one. But anyway, getting into the chapter. All right, we start off kind of where we left off last, got like that sneeze coming up. But we start off where we left off last chapter, after Queen basically tried to, decapitate Sanji with his sword, and Queen's sword just snapped, So everybody's kind of shocked. They're like, they're pretty much shocked, but Queen points out the fact that Sanji didn't use haki. He points out that fact that Sanji, it was just more so Sanji's body. He talks about how I guess he repeats or paraphrases something that Judge tell him when he says, "I can give the human body an exoskeleton. I can give it abnormal regeneration. I can give it a great physical strength." So he's pretty much aware. He's pretty much aware of, what Sanji's biology is capable of. You know what I'm saying? Because he's aware of what Judge's science is capable of. And he also says, and most of all, an unfeeling heart of ice. We see Chopper Khan point out the fact that the sword broke, and then we get Sanji, and he's kind of like visualizing his brothers, and he's basically saying like, I don't want to be heartless monsters like them, like he basically kind of panicking, and he pretty much starts running away, and you see Queen shooting these laser beams at him, and he's like, he's telling Queen like, hey, like, wait, stop, what's happening to my body? He's trying to figure out what's going on with his body rather than fight Queen, and he's like, he's telling Queen like, give him time to think. And so we see like some of the fodder, they basically start shooting Sanji, and the bullets are just bouncing off Sanji's. But man, I got this like sneeze. You ever had like that sneeze that just don't, like, it just lingers, but it doesn't want to release? Like, I'm just having that right now. But so kind of forgive me if I'm like, like hesitating. It's just So yeah, where was I? So the bullets are bouncing off Sanji, right? And Queen is basically egging Sanji to put that raid suit on. He's like, bro, I want to see the raid suit. Like, give me that, So we kind of I guess we flip to Big Mom versus Kid and Law, and we see Kid like basically suffering in pain on the ground. Like somebody said, I guess Big Mom asked Kid like, hey, do you got a migraine? Like, and we see that she's about to she's basically about to use Napoleon and Hera to basically end Kid, use Kid's pain as an advantage almost. Like she's just using this as, she's taking this time to use to her advantage, and she's basically about to pretty much try to kill Kid with Napoleon and Hera. And so we see Law basically telling Kid like, "Hey, bro, you being useless right now, bro. You being hella useless." And he uses his gamma knife, or what was it? Not the gamma knife. He just uses a counter shot against her. I thought it was the gamma knife, but it's a counter shot, and kind of like stuns Big Mom, just for a little bit. You know how adorable Big Mom is, so it ain't really gonna do too much to her, and I was about to say Napoleon, but Prometheus. Prometheus, who just kind of sitting there, just kind of watching, he takes it upon himself to basically attack Law, with a stolen fire or something. And we just see Kid in pain, and Big Mom hits Kid and Law with a Mama Raid. It's basically like it's pretty much like a downward slash with Napoleon. I'm assuming Hera's being used as well, so it's kind of like a combined effort of Hera, Napoleon, and Big Mom. It's wild how Big Mom's ability works. It's like she creates these items that are an addition. It's not just like her power, just like being used. It's her power, but it almost stands alone by itself to another individual that you have to fight. You know what I'm saying? With its own power. You know what I'm saying? Like she creates entities almost that can be used as a numbers advantage for her. So we basically see Law and Kid kind of laid out. And she's kind of like shocked because we see Kid get right back up, and Kid's like, "Hey, bro, this headache ain't gonna stop me from it's like I can't lose. I can't lose. I can't have gotten this far and lose to a goddamn headache." So we switch to the third floor where we get Hawkins and Killer fighting, and this kind of reminds us, because when we came back to this chapter, we see Law getting beat up, talking about a migraine. I forgot how we got there. You know what I'm saying? And this part kind of reminds us how we got there, why Kid's head was hurt, why he's going through this head pain. And it was because, it reminded us because Hawkins was the one who has Kid's life within him using his ability. And we basically see Hawkins like smashing his head on a wall, and we discover that's why Kid's having all these headaches, because Hawkins is basically beating up Kid with his ability. That's a wild ability to have, though. Like speaking of Hawkins, you're basically a living voodoo doll, and when someone tries to hurt you, it hurts somebody else. So it's like if you're fighting an opponent, just like this situation, you fighting an opponent and they have someone that you care about life within you, and you can't attack them. Like, you can't attack them, because if you do it doesn't hurt your opponent. It hurts, person you care about, your friend or whoever, And that's basically what we see in this fight with Killer and Hawkins. Killer can't really do nothing. At least at this point, he can't do nothing. So he's basically telling Hawkins like, "Hey, stop." He's trying to talk Hawkins. He's trying to talk Hawkins out of like this behavior. So so Hawkins is basically, kind of trolling Killer, because he knows he's in control of the situation. So he says, like, "I can't believe you ate a smile fruit. You couldn't possibly be more miserably misfortunate Killer," And Killer basically is like, hey, bro, just stop. You know what I'm saying? Now the crew, Killer, kids crew, they don't realize what's going on. They don't realize. Maybe they're unaware of Hawkins' ability. I'm assuming that's what it is. They're unaware of Hawkins' ability, and they don't understand why Killer's not fighting Hawkins. Why Killer's not fighting Hawkins, and they're pretty much frustrated with seeing Killer get beat up and not really defend himself. And Killer says, "Hey, man, I asked you to release Kid." He said, "You can have my life in exchange." So that's a pretty defining moment for Killer because we see how truly loyal he is to his captain. Kind of like Zoro, kind of like Zoro. He's pretty loyal. He's willing to give his life for his captain, to save his captain. And so Hawkins is pretty much, beating up Killer. And he said, "Hey, kid is fighting with Big Mom right now, I gather. Will he succeed at his dream of hunting down an Emperor of the Sea? It's good to set your sights high." And so Killer like, "Hey, man, so stop sabotaging." And Hawkins basically says, "Hey, if I'm preventing you from succeeding, then cut me down with those size, or surrender if you prefer. I'll put in a good word for you with Kaido." Now, he knows, Hawkins is just trolling right now because he knows Killer can't. If Killer tries to kill him, he pretty much kills Kid as well, which is surprising. Killer not being a killer because Killer could just kill his captain in Hawkins, but not saying he would, because Zoro wouldn't do that either, and I will see like most pirate crews, they have a high respect for their captain, so Killer respects and loves his captain like a brother because they grew up together. They pretty much are like brothers or family in a sense, and it's not just a respect thing, but it's more like a familial thing. Kind of like the Straw Hats. The Straw Hats, they respect their captain, yes, but it's also like a family. They look at each other as a family. Zoro and Luffy are almost like brothers. All right, we got Shane Burns in the house. He said, "Yo, bro, what kind of work you into? I know you're a vet. What kind of work? What kind of work am I into? Like, what do you mean? What kind of work do I do? Because right now, pretty much this is my work. Like I make music as well. Yeah, but let me get through this chapter recap. You know what I'm saying? So, um, so yeah, so Hawkins is pretty much talking about like, "Hey, man, you know y'all not gonna be able to beat these Yonko. They ruled the sea for so long. You know, he said, I know you have to feel that, like in your instincts. You have to feel that you can't win this. It has to be in your instincts that you can't beat these people." And Killer basically says, "Hey, man, don't get emotional now." He said, "Deep down, you regret your decision back then." He said, "Because you feared dying in this future, and here we are still standing." And Hawkins pretty much is shocked from that. Like, he's pretty much shocked, but I think he's kind of offended as well. He's shocked, but he's also offended because So, because he's kind of like saying, like, hey, bro, we going to see who's going to regret this at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? And then Killer basically asks Hulk, like, hey, I got two questions for you. The first question, he says, if you take damage without a proper conduit, where does that damage go? And Hawkins, I guess, kind of brushes. He doesn't really think about the question because he just naturally uses it. So he said, "Hey, what do you mean? You should know how my power works by now. All of the damage I take goes straight to Kid as long as I hold his straw doll within my body." And Killer basically just, I guess Killer deduced. I'm guessing he deduced it because I don't feel as though Hawkins' answer was really good enough to take this type of a risk, but he just does it anyway. And so I guess he kind of deduced it. I guess he kind of said, I'm sure, if I cut him in the area where he doesn't have, it's just gonna, you know what I'm saying? We're fans. I'm not going. Let me. I might be getting a little ahead of it, but it's just we kind of see Killer just act. And he cuts off Hawkins' left arm, and everybody's shocked, right? And he said, "How did you cut off my arm?" As in, like, he didn't. The damage didn't get transferred, right? He cut off Hawkins' arm, not Kid's arm. Hawkins, and he said that damage should have gone to, and he said, Kid has no left arm. So I'm guessing Killer deduced that the damage goes into the specific part of the body. It's not like you cut him in his finger and it just hurts Kid in general. It's like you cut Kid in the finger, or if you cut Hawkins in the finger, it cuts the finger of whoever's life he has within him. You know what I'm saying? So Hawkins or Killer said, he decides to ask the second question. He says, once I take this one out, how many more lives are protecting your own? And then, Hawkins said, congratulations, that's the last one. And then he's like, man, damn it. I didn't have to, he didn't expect this. He didn't expect this turn of events. But I will say, man, like Hawkins' ability is kind of cowardly. You know what I'm saying? It might just fit his character as a cowardly character, as somebody, because you think about it, he betrayed the Alliance because he was afraid to get killed by Yonko. And so like he has an ability that he's using other people's lives to protect his own life. I don't want to say cowardly, but he's very careful. He's somebody you could see kind of fears death. And the comments, we got Shane Burns talking about music. Nice, yeah, I feel you. One Piece time. Yeah, man, One Piece time, bro. But we get into the chapter. But so now we see Hawkins. He doesn't have any more lives. We never even really. I don't think we got an answer for how he gets these lives under check. Like how he gets possession of these people's lives. Is it through his cards that he get them, or is it through like a straw? Like maybe I don't know. Like Oda still hasn't given us that answer of how he. Correct me if I'm wrong. Has Oda gave us an answer of how Hawkins gets these lives under his belt? And another thing I realize is we got another character getting his arm chopped off. it's like a reoccurring thing. You know, Kid doesn't have a left arm. Shanks don't have a left arm. Now Hawkins don't have a left arm. Bro, I wouldn't be shocked if a Straw Hat get they left arm taken off. Is it Shanks' left arm? Whichever arm it is, he's missing an arm. But yeah, so Hawkins pulls out his straw man card. You know, the one that we've seen confront Luffy and Zoro at one point. Like the scarecrow looking thing. And he says the card of destruction. It means I can finally end your miserable life myself. So Hawk is talking big now. He's like, hey, now I'm gonna be the one to kill you. Not today, Killer says. Not today. He uses beheading claws, and he basically cuts off the head of Hawkins' big scarecrow. I wonder if Hawkins could still turn into that scarecrow like we seen in the pre-time skip. Because now, since we got the Wano, we see it, and he uses his sword as the conduit or whatever. But pre-time skip, we seen Hawkins turn into the scarecrow or the whatever it is, the big strawman. And God dang. But and so Hawkins basically says, "Hey, the straw man will not perish. It will come back to life as the cards dictate." And he pulls out the card, and we see the tower card, and it's like a tower where the top of the tower basically is like the top of the tower is like blown off, and I at first I kind of thought it was kind of a reference to his scarecrow, his little strawman, how the top of the strawman's head basically got like knocked off or decapitated. But you know, a little different meaning that we see in the next panel after Hawkins, or after Killer pretty much slices Hawkins up from like his chest up, and we see all the cars flying off of Hawkins. You know, I'm trying to make out some of these cars, but it's pretty hard to make out. I'll have to, you know, really take your time. If anybody can make out the other cars that are falling, y'all let me know. And then we see Hawkins laid out, pretty much defeated, and then we see this tower card laying right next to him, you know, having some type of meaning. And next we see Big Mom talking to Kid like, hey, you know, you seem to be in pretty much in better spirits now. And Kid is like, yeah, my body feels much lighter. And Killer pretty much says, get going, partner. But before I end it, you know, I want to kind of say with the straw man, because we get an explanation of what the tower card is, or what it means. And he says it basically means the collapse of the old and brittle. And its hidden meaning is a new way forward. It's a lot of symbolism in that we gonna get to. It's a lot of symbolism in that we gonna get to. Now we done with the recap. So let's get into the actual discussion. Let's talk about this chapter, you know. And hold on. What the hell? Sorry, y'all. I had some notes, you know, because you know I know a lot of y'all, you know, y'all read this chapter, and y'all have, you know, a few days to really talk about it and sit on it. You know, I read the official chapter, so I pretty much read this a couple hours ago. So, you know, I have to make these notes, like, you know, like especially before my stream, I make these notes to help me, you know, get some things that stuck out for me. You know, I know a lot of y'all probably there's been theories probably created from this chapter, but you know we're going to discuss it now, and it's kind of like here and now we talk about it. We kind of coming up with theories on the fly, coming up with thoughts and discussion on the fly, at least for me, you know. So first thing I want to talk about, you know, and I know a lot of people, you know, the tower. We gonna talk about that, but you know, I like to talk about things that kind of got me stuck out to me in order of how the chapter moved, you know. So I kind of want to talk about like the moment where Queen tells Sanji like that, you know, he's gonna become have a heart of ice. We see, which had me thinking. You know, we're seeing this evolution that Sanji, that our boy Sanji is currently going through with his body. You know, it's hardening. Now, my thoughts on what why it's doing it. I think the raid suit is tailored to his biology, right? I think all the Vinsmokes, I'm pretty sure that's how it is. The Vinsmokes, the raid suits are tailored to their specific bodies. You know, they're tailored to their DNA. And when he first put that raid suit on, you know, in the effort to, I will say, acclimate to the user, and for the user to acclimate to the suit, I think it maybe somehow sparked his Latin abilities, his abilities that were already there in his DNA, but they were pretty much dormant because of whatever Sanji's mom did. I guess when she tried to do that poison when she was pregnant, and you know it only worked on Sanji. I'm assuming that the suit kind of awoken those cells or that piece of his DNA to where now his body is actually like his DNA is catching up to his body is now catching up with his DNA, or vice versa. The DNA is awakening and becoming what it should become, and his body is going through that process. And but the question I pose is, you know, just kind of seeing how in the chapter when we see Queen talk about how Judge could give a human a body of an exoskeleton, I mean, you know, with regeneration, great physical strength, and most of all, an unfeeling heart of ice. Could this potentially impact Sanji's personality or his who Sanji is? You know what I'm saying? Like, could Sanji possibly change? Now, personally, I don't think he would change. It would be a change to where he'll start hitting women or he feel different about women. I think that part of that chivalrous side of Sanji, I think that will always be there. But I do think that there could be an impact. Maybe he's more extreme with it. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe it like his heartlessness may happen in the middle of battle. You know, like when he's like fighting, you know, a tough fight, right? You know, like he's fighting a big fight, and he's pushed to have to be more colder and more heartless. I think it could potentially impact him in that way, more so in his fighting tenacity. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it could just make him a more vicious fighter. You know, like when that heartlessness kick in. But as far as him on a normal in daily interactions with like Nami and Robin, I don't think it's going to impact him. Like, I don't think he's going to be like mean and heartless to them or to women in general. But what if he does go that route? What if he does go that route? What if Sanji becomes a more or less caring person to everybody? That could be an interesting route to go for the story. But I don't think Oda would do that. You know, he's built Sanji at this point is kind of to change him in that fundamentally way, like to his fundamental personality, to change that this late in the series, I think would probably be more of a disservice. So I don't think Oda is going to take it that route. But you know, I thought it was worth noting. You know, I thought it was worth bringing up. The next thing I want to talk about is Sanji's potential. Sanji's potential. Like how strong if Sanji puts on the raid suit right now, how strong will Sanji actually be? You know, how it? I don't know, man. I don't know. You know, I think this is a you know very monumental buff for Sanji at this point of the story. I think it's a very meaning. Like I always kind of doubted Zoro's buff and getting a new sword because it's a new sword. You know, it doesn't. I don't believe it changes his whole physical being. You know, it doesn't. It just almost amplifies what he already is. You know, so without it, it's just he doesn't have that amplification. Versus Sanji, his body has gotten stronger. So Sanji kind of has a permanent buff, and then he has the raid suit, which is kind of closer to what Enma is to Zoro. You know what I'm saying? Like Zoro's upgrade this arc has been Enma, and what we thought Sanji's upgrade was the raid suit. But now we see Sanji's body actually evolving, right? And it's getting stronger, you know. And he might even be faster than what we've seen of him, which Sanji's already a pretty fast character. So, what I'm pretty intrigued to see Sanji's growth at it, like where Sanji's going to be as far as power scaling. I'm pretty I'm pretty intrigued with the power scaling of Sanji. I mean, I've seen some wild memes posted like after the last chapter. I've seen people talking about I want to say Kaido like hitting Sanji with his club and Kaido's club breaking. I've seen people talking about Mihawk slashing Sanji. Mihawk, I guess that was more of a shot for Zoro though, because Mihawk Zoro's uh uh goal, and people always compare Sanji and Zoro, and it's like, yeah, Zoro has trouble with Mihawk, but Sanji over here taking Mihawk's attacks with his new up. It's silly to me, but it's funny. It's what people gonna do. It's what the community's gonna do. I can't be mad at it. But yeah. So this upgrade with Sanji, man, like I really wasn't really expecting it. I figured the raid suit was gonna be enough, but you know, now Sanji got this power buff, and I like the upgrade. I like it. I love the power up because it's a power up that makes sense. It's a power up that could be explained. You know what I'm saying? It's not just let's make Sanji stronger. No, I feel as though it's actually maybe a power up that Oda already had in mind for Sanji. I think Whole Cake Island was just kind of foreshadowing it. It was already like setting the foundation of giving Sanji this upgrade. You know, because we see Sanji we see that his dad dabbled in DNA manipulation, and and it makes sense, because his brothers and his sister is like that, and now Sanji's DNA is actually catching up to his siblings' DNA, and you could easily say the raid suit is the catalyst for this upgrade, you know. So yeah. So basically, next I want to talk about Killer's loyalty and his sacrifice. Now, y'all saying Killer sacrifice, but he didn't sacrifice himself this chapter, and he didn't. I'm not saying he did sacrifice, but I wanted to say it like that more maybe for dramatic effect, but it's like he was willing to sacrifice himself in a in a way that's kind of nostalgic of Zoro, when Zoro was fighting Kuma and he was willing to sacrifice himself for his captain. Now I don't know if Killer has any big dream like Zoro, because the weight of what Zoro did, we knew the weight of it because we knew that Zoro had a dream. His dream was to become the strongest swordsman, the greatest swordsman. It was to beat Mihawk, take his position. But you see, but what happened though is, but with this, we don't know if Killer has any major dream like Zoro. So the weight of him offering his life isn't as much as Zoro, because Zoro was willing to sacrifice himself in his dream in order to keep Luffy's dream alive. You know what I'm saying? Like, he almost valued his captain's dream over his own dream. And I get that. That's part of Zoro's character. He's like, bro, if I can't ensure the success of my captain, who am I to call myself the greatest swordsman? Or the best swordsman in the world, Who, if I can't ensure that my captain succeeds, I'm not the best swordsman. That's kind of how I see Zoro's thought process of sacrifice himself for Luffy. You know what I'm saying? So with Killer, I don't know if Killer's dream is to be the world's best swordsman, or if it's just something as simple as ensuring that Killer becomes the Pirate King. That might be his dream. Just ensure that his captain succeeds. And if that's the case, then, the weight of him sacrificing himself may not be as deep as Zoro's sacrifice. But, it's still noble. It's still, because Sanji was willing to, even though Sanji has a dream as well, but to make your dream to see your captain's dream succeed, that's pretty noble. Yeah, so I mean, I think it's a great mirror to Zoro, because I always, I'm of the belief I wanted to see when we first learned who Killer was. I wanted Oda to kind of make Killer like Zoro's rival. You know what I'm saying? Because think about it. Killer is the only supernova. He's the only other supernova. The other being Zoro. He's the only other supernova that's not a captain. So, that right there kind of established that him and Zoro have something in common. They're both supernova that aren't captains, and they both are like the right hand man to their captain. And they both use blades. Zoro uses swords, and Killer uses like scythes. Like that spin. And we seen that they fought before. At that point, you could say Zoro was handicapped because he only had two swords, and you could probably even say that Killer was somewhat handicapped because he wasn't using his scythes. Like the ones that he's normally fighting with. He had to use like normal size, and you know, and but I feel as though Zoro probably was a little more handicapped in that situation because he was already fighting. He was already in the middle of a fight, so there's that. And I don't want to say Killer is as strong as Zoro, but I feel as though I don't think he's that much weaker than Zoro. You know, to where maybe Oda could still kind of say that they're rivals in a way. But that's kind of my thoughts on that. So next, I want to talk about Hawkins' regret. Hawkins' regret. Now there was a part in the chapter, right, where Killer basically called Hawkins out, right? Killer called Hawkins out. He called Hawkins on his bullshit. He was like, "Hey," he basically said, "You regret the decision you made back then, don't you?" Let me start. He basically said, "Don't get emotional now. Besides, I know that deep down, you regret the decision you made back then, don't you?" And he was like, "Because you feared dying in this future, and here we are still standing." That was bars right there, bro. That was that. I gotta get at a. I gotta get at a. Hold on, you gotta get it. He said we are still standing. Get that boy up. God, you know what I'm saying. Go ahead, Killer. Talk your shit. Talk your shit. But I like what he said because he was like, like you betrayed us. He, like kind of what I got from it. What he said. He said like you betrayed us because you was afraid. You was a coward. So you betrayed us in order to live, and you thought we would die. But look, we still here. And not only are we here, we got our foot in the door, and we about to actually kick this door in and beat Yonko. We actually about to win. We actually about to win, and you cowered away because you was afraid. Because you cowered away because you was afraid to die. And Hawkins looked a little shocked, like, damn, man, like you. Like I think Hawkins kind of like I think Hawkins believed yeah, I was kind of afraid. So I think that pretty much hit all Hawkins though. I think that spoke to Hawkins. And my question to you guys, you people, is Hawkins redeemable at this point? Is he like redeemable? Will he possibly like change sides by the end of this arc? If let's say he gets back up, I don't think he's dead, but if he gets back up before the end of his arc, will he be on the side of the alliance? The Straw Hat Alliance, the Straw Hat Ninja Samurai, the Pirate Ninja Samurai Alliance. Will he be a part of that? You know what I'm saying? Because like we're going to talk about soon. He's seen that card, right? And we got the meaning of that card, which, I'm going to get into that. But we got the meaning of that card. And maybe he might realize, like, dang, they can actually win. Maybe I should turn sides again. it would, I don't know how I would feel about that. I don't know how I would feel about that. I'm like thinking about it now. Because it's like, it's kind of, I think that I've always had an idea that Hawkins could potentially join the Supernova. I think a lot of people did. Like maybe it'll be like a Supernova, all the Supernova against Kaido. Like before Wino, like that's kind of what people was thinking. Like all the possibly like Apu. I don't think Apu's turning against Kaido. I think Hawkins could potentially still do it if he get up. But like if he does, which I kind of already maybe anticipated, or predicted before. But it's like I'm kind of thinking if he does it, it's just kind of playing to his character as somebody who just switches sides instead of actually feeling as though like you know what, he's right. I was afraid, so maybe I should go against Kaido. It's almost like yeah, even if he does that, people might still think like, okay, bro, you're just switching sides again. You already established you're somebody who will switch sides when it fits. So I'm I'm kind of mixed how I feel about that because I've already believed that Hawkins could potentially switch sides to the Mink Samurai Pirate Alliance, but kind of how Killer was talking to Hawkins, it would just make me think like, oh, that's just part of Hawkins' character to just switch sides when the tide is turning, So, but I think it would probably be a little of both. It would be like, yeah, he was called out and he realized how stupid he was, but then he's also I'm like, but yeah, I'm kind of a coward. So yes, it makes it's like he's accepting who he is. And he's just going to switch sides and accept that fact. But he also doesn't want to work for. He doesn't want to be a underling to Kaido either. You know. And then I kind of want to talk about Hawkins' weakness. Like Killer basically kind of exposed Hawkins, right? So it's like he can only like he exposed Hawkins' weakness. Like Hawkins can only he 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 can only like his ability is only affected if the part of his body that's being affected, that other person has that as well. So if he if again like we seen that Killer or Kid did not have a left arm. So Killer basically cut off Hawkins' left arm. And the fact that Killer didn't have a left arm, that actually worked in Killer and Kid's, or the fact that Kid didn't have a left arm, it worked in Killer and Kid's advantage, and it allowed Killer to not only get an effective attack on Hawkins, but to basically stop his ability, and it made Hawkins vulnerable. You know, not only that, like if you could figure out a way to just take away the voodoo dolls without having to take off a limb or kill the person, if you could just figure out how to just take that voodoo doll from the person, from Hawkins, then you could also end his thing as well. But something like that would be tough. I think somebody like Law could do that though. Like he could easily switch the voodoo doll with like a rock or something, you know. But if you could figure out how to do that, I think you could pretty much uh put a stop to Hawkins' ability as well. And next question is Hawkins down for good? Like is he down where we not seeing Hawkins the rest of this arc? I don't know. You know, I think that he could get up because a lot of times One Piece characters they get knocked down and then they get up in the same arc. I think he could get up. And if he does get up, I think it's going to be in order to change sides and help the other supernova possibly take down Kaido. But if he's not switching sides, I don't really see any use for him coming back. Like yeah, he could come back with I'm gonna attack again, but it's like we already got so much going on. Like we don't need like Hawkins coming back and like let me continue fighting. I'd rather see the Toby Ropo get back up and continue fighting than Hawkins. If Hawkins is gonna get up, I want to see him get up in order like to help out the alliance. That's pretty much how I'm feeling. But we also got the final thing I wanted to talk about was the tower card. The tower card. We get an explanation of what that tower card means. I'm gonna read. I already read it, but I wanna read it again. I wanna read it again. It says in Strawman cards, the tower means the collapse of the old and brittle, and its hidden meaning is a new way forward. Now, I feel as though that can be translated in a couple ways. A couple ways. I think the obvious translation that most people will get out of it is pretty much Kaido, Big Mom, gonna be defeated. They're gonna be defeated because they're the old. Now, where I kind of disagree with it being Kaido and Big Mom, it says the old and brittle. The old and brittle. There's nothing brittle about Kaido and Big Mom. You old, yes. Brittle, not so much. But even it's hidden meaning saying a new way forward. I mean, they are still the old, and Luffy is pretty much the new way forward, right? That's kind of what that I think that would be the obvious and probably the most likely of explanations of what the tower card is prophesizing, just the defeat of Kaido, or Kaido and maybe not Big Mom but Kaido, Kaido and Orochi. Now I also think it could mean the regime. It doesn't necessarily it would still technically be a defeat on Kaido, but I just mean the first one, the first explanation. I mean like Kaido being like physically defeated, being put down, and in the arc, Kaido's pretty much defeated and he's gone. But I'm kind of thinking it could also mean the defeat of Kaido, but more so like the regime of Kaido and Orochi, like their hold on Wino. It's like the like because when you look at the regime of Kaido and Orochi, it's old and brittle. It's brittle because you know it's brittle in a couple ways. Orochi and Kaido's relationship wasn't strong whatsoever. So their regime wasn't strong. Kaido killed Orochi. So that regime that was in place of Kaido and Orochi is pretty much brittle because Kaido pretty much put it into it. He pretty much weakened it himself when he killed Orochi, who was like his partner. And it was brittle because they didn't have the backing of the people. It was an oppressive society, which is like societies like that are brittle because it just takes one thing to kind of create a revolution. When you got the people, when you oppress people, they eventually rise up against you, and which is a shaky foundation to build a government on, is the oppression of people, because eventually they may betray you, they may revolt against you. So I'm kind of thinking it could mean the ending of that regime, which we already kind of knew. We already kind of knew when they talk about the new dawn, all these prophecies. We already kind of knew that. But here's also a third. Here's a third meaning, which I think this is the least likely. This is the least like. The less likely meaning. I don't even know why I pulled this up, but you also think who else is old and brittle? Like you could say that about the the samurai, the scabbards. It could, but it could also mean a combination of these. The scabbards are also old and brittle. They're part of the old. Just as much as Orochi is part of the old, they're part of the old. Odin's part of the old. Kaido's part of the old. You know what I'm saying? So it could mean a lot of things, but then it could also mean multiple different things. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of my thoughts on the Tower card. You know, it's just a prediction that yes, Kaido is going to lose. Now I don't. Now I say he will lose, but I don't know if he's going to be down for good. I don't know if they're going to put him down by the end of the arc. Story logic, yeah, he probably get put down. So I'm not fighting that. I'm not going to argue that. I'm not going to fight that argument because there most likely Kaido probably will be put down. To me, it's just a matter of how he's put down, which is kind of, you know, where my problem will be. I kind of don't want to see Kaido lose 1-on-1 versus Luffy. I know a lot of people love Luffy. They want to see Kaido. They want to see Luffy beat Kaido, but I want I just I want to see Kaido live up to that till the end. And yes, I'm very biased for Kaido. I won't lie. I'm a big fan of Kaido, and I want to see Kaido. You know, maybe some trickery. Maybe something like Big Mom gets involved, and that gives Luffy the opening or just enough to beat Kaido. Maybe CP0 affects the battle. Maybe Kid and Law somehow detach from Big Mom's the fight that fight. Maybe somehow they get away from that. I don't know. Maybe Big Mom decides like, what, I don't want to fight y'all no more. Like I don't know why. I'm just saying. I'm not saying she just says that mid fight. Like, oh, I don't want to fight y'all. But maybe there's a reason that Big Mom's like, you know what, I don't. I'm not gonna fight y'all. I'd rather go handle this or I don't want to fight this fight no more. So but if somehow Kid and Law can be taken away from that battle with Big Mom and they could rejoin Luffy, and then maybe Hawkins also joins and maybe Zoro, Zoro, maybe even Sanji joins. I don't know, I don't know. Or it doesn't have to be all the straw. It could just be the captains. It could be Straw Hat or I mean it could be Kid, Law, and Hawkins and Drake. They call take on Kaido and finish him. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. But yeah, so y'all let me know what you guys think about the this recent chapter. Do you think Sanji's personality is going to be affected through this transformation he's going through, this evolution he's going through? How strong do you think that he's going to be after, like, with the combination of this change he's going through and the raid suit? How strong do you think he's going to be? Killer, like, do you think Killer rivals Zoro in some aspects? You think he's comparable? Am I reaching with that one? I know a lot of people love Zoro, and to compare Killer with Zoro is would be blasphemous to some people. and I'm not saying Killer's as strong as Zoro. Don't sit here and act like that's what I'm saying, because we already seen them fight. Zoro won. Zoro was handicapped, and Zoro won. Still, so what about Hawkins? His regret, Do you think he could be redeemable to the story? Do you think he might end up changing his odds, joining the alliance? And again, like, what are your thoughts on Hawkins' like weakness being exposed, and do you think he's down for good? And what about that tower, the tower card? What do you get from it? What are your thoughts on what the tower card really means? Let me know in the comments. I didn't see that we're having a break, so let me make sure we ain't got no break. Yeah, I don't think we got a break. So I think we're pretty much 7 days. 7 days. So we'll be back next Sunday for the next chapter discussion. I'm trying to get these reaction videos. I'm trying to do more reaction videos. So if you got any content, any theories that you want me to react to, send them. Send them through my Instagram or my Twitter. Every I got everywhere you can hit me in is gonna be in my link box. My Twitter, my Instagram. I got a Facebook group, Facebook, a One Piece Facebook group, a One Piece Discord. So you could send me content in any of those, and I might do some reactions to some other people's chapter reviews and discussions and stuff. I might find like one or two to do this week, and because sometimes it'd be a little difficult to find a good theory to react to. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Sometimes it'd be a little tough, So yeah, so I'm gonna find at least two videos to react to this week. Maybe a chapter review and maybe a theory video, or maybe two chapter reviews, two like 1029 chapter reviews. But yeah, you want me to react to something, send it to me. So y'all just be on the lookout for that. You subscribe, hit that bell for notifications so you know when I go live. But anyway, I'm out of here. It's your boy Sean P. Hey! Y'all have a good Sunday and a good beginning of your week tomorrow. I appreciate y'all for watching. Everybody for watching. Shane Burns, appreciate it. For you stopping through and talking. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. I'm out of here.